We've put a lot of effort into attracting birds into our landscape this year with the proper placement of bird feeders. And along with the birds have come another critter, the squirrel, which is very obvious because we see them out here in our circle drive. But we've also caught them in the bird feeders that we've made for the kids' projects. Not only do we see them in the feeders, but they're chewing holes to make it bigger so they can get inside, which you can see the teeth marks on the plastic one, as well as the milk jug here, the cardboard one, and even on the plastic lid on the coffee can, they've chewed the hole out a lot bigger, and we've truly caught them inside feasting on the sunflowers. So we've asked our non-game biologist specialist, Mr. Mark Howery with the Wildlife Department, to join us again and help us out here with some of the problems. And Mark, welcome back to Oklahoma Gardening, and what on earth are we going to do?
Well, one of the best things to do is put up some squirrel baffles to keep them off the feeders. One of the big problems here is the way that we set this up initially. We've got a rough cedar post. The squirrels have no problem just climbing up this post and hopping over to one of the feeders. So to squirrel proof them, we're going to have to we're either going to have to create a metal baffle around the base of the post to keep the squirrels from climbing up it.
Similar to what we've put on the bird houses, I guess.
Just
right?
like the bird houses.
Okay.
Or take the feeders off and put squirrel baffles over them.
Okay. Now that one, if they try to chew on it though, you tell me is a little bit better product, I guess.
Yeah, this is a nice feeder in that it's got metal all around the hole, so while a squirrel can still get on these perches and eat your sunflower seed, they can't chew up the feeder itself.
And this is actually a commercial baffle out on the market, right?
Yeah, you can find this at most of the feed stores. I think I got this at Horn. It's a squirrel baffle, fits over the feeder like this. You hang it from a branch. If a squirrel tries to jump on your feeder, it hits the baffle and just slides right off.
Now placement is a big key to it, and why don't you come over here and kind of give us an idea of some of the things to do or not to do.
Okay. This is not an ideal place, but what we really want to look for is a long, slender branch or something like a clothesline pole. We want to hang the feeder so that it's at least 5 feet up off the ground so squirrels can't simply jump up to it, and hang it out at least 6 or 7 feet from the trunk of a tree so that squirrels can't jump from the trunk over to the feeder. And if we can, get a little bit of chain and make it a little flimsier and hang it down a little bit lower so that squirrels have a harder time jumping down from above.
Okay.
That would pretty much squirrel proof it.
Now you also brought one along that's actually, I guess, everything combined into one product, isn't it?
Squirrel baffle right on top, you put on the end of a branch.
Okay. Now, another one that you brought along is an actual feeder that's kind of got a trap door, doesn't it?
Yeah, in a sense. It has a movable perch with a little metal plate. If a lightweight animal like a bird sits on the plate, it's not a problem. But if a squirrel gets on this perch, the perch slips down and a metal plate falls over and closes up the feeder, so the squirrel can no longer get at the seed.
And I think the nice thing about this one is it only allows one side for the critters to feed on. Some of them have feeders on both sides, and still the same principle, but we've heard people talk about they balance it where one can still feed out of it. They're pretty intelligent.
They are. I think these squirrels have all day to learn how to get into these bird feeders.
Now talk about territorial type things. You know, is trapping and those types of things an option?
It really is not a good option if you've got a lot of squirrels in your area. Squirrels are somewhat territorial, and a typical backyard isn't going to house more than 4 or 5 or 6 squirrels. If you trap out a squirrel, another one is just likely to take its place. Plus, if you trap one, take it out in the country and dump it, you're just dumping the problem on somebody else.
Now, the other thing we've heard people comment on is going ahead and just, if you can't beat them, join them, so to speak, and put out some feeders. What about that?
It works pretty well. It doesn't work in all cases. The one risk to that is you may actually end up attracting more squirrels, but it is pretty good. I use that in my yard. I have an area where I put out seed for the squirrels.
And corn, is that a pretty good feed source?
Corn or sunflower seed.
Okay, well, Mark, thanks for joining us. We're going to try to put up some of the baffles and locate our feeders, and hopefully we can get things under control. And again, if nothing else, squirrels are pretty entertaining. So
they are entertaining.
We may just have to learn to live with them, huh? Thanks again, Mark.
Thanks.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. You can also find more recent videos on our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.